All right, hola guys, ¿qué paso? How's everyone doing? This is Hala Pablo. Thank you for tuning in. Let's go ahead and do a real brief update on what's going on with Bitcoin. What in the world's going on with Bitcoin, man? We had a pump, right? But it didn't go too far, did it? We kind of got stopped out right here at trading range resistance. This is the common area here where we have where this range so far has been secondary testing. Uh, about a week ago to the day, right? Today's the 14th, Valentine's Day. About a week ago on the 7th, we had another real sign of strength kind of upthrust here. But as quickly as it came up, it came back down. That's right here. And it was also on volume. We had substantial demand volume, enough to blast us through the anchored VWAP and also above the micro trend resistance, kind of like what happened here today. We kind of got through this micro trend. Well, we got through the AWAP, through the VWAP, we got through the microtrend resistance, and we got stopped out so far trading range resistance. So that's three micro, not very strong resistance lines that kind of blew through on very high demand, I might say. This is extremely high demand, and we didn't quite get as high as we got about a week ago on much less demand a week ago. So that's something else to take into consideration. All in all, it's very trappy. It's coming out of this rising wedge from this double bottom. This is the traditional neckline area, which happens to be the, like I said, secondary test. Why do I call this a secondary test area? Well, that's banking off this being the buying climax. Buying climax, automatic reaction, secondary test. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. This one didn't quite make it, and then 5. So it's been a 5 bounce. It's been a 5 touch resistance line. So that's I think that's a pretty solid secondary test or trading range resistance. In other words, we draw the trading range resistance obviously off the secondary test. We draw the trading range support or TRS off the automatic rally or the automatic reaction area. And so that puts the anchored VWAP or the ICE right center, mid-range, a real proper, solid 0.5 Fibonacci. And what we saw this morning, it just blew right through it. We had this touch, we had this double bottom. There's a lot of double bottoms in this range. This one kind of went through it, and we got stopped out where we currently are, where supply begins to come in. Now, the supply didn't or hasn't predominated the preceding demand, and we see we haven't really come down as much as we came down a week ago. The week ago took us right back down to TRS. This time we're kind of hugging trading range resistance, and so that's interesting. Now, there are some options of what can happen at this point. We could see this if we continue to flag here. It looks like it's bull flagging a little bit on this time frame. On the, let's see, what do I have it on? I have it on the 30-minute. So it looks like we could be like either not flagging, but maybe like a bull pennant or something like that, a smaller reaccumulation. If we reaccumulate along the trading range resistance area, we could be fixing to put up a another little like a micro rally or a nano rally, and that could bring us up to mitigate this area next. This the top of where the upthrust ended back about a week ago. That's the 99.9 or 100 grand. So that's the first LV that we could mitigate if it doesn't go down from here. Second would be this one. This is another micro liquidity void, and that is about 101. And then, or rather about 100, what is it, 100? Yeah, it's about 106. And then this one, of course, is the big one. This is 102 too. So this is kind of like the macro on this time frame of the liquidity voids. Anything above this area, and now we're getting deep into the macro trend resistance, which has so far been impregnable since the UTAD, since the all-time high, 108,000. So, and that is, I haven't drawn it, but that would be a line that goes through the tops of this UTAD in this LPSY area here. And that is more like a zone. That is a macro That's the macro resistance of the regression trend of the whole top or the mound or the distribution that we're in this range. So so it remains to be seen. I'm going to continue to monitor this. We didn't really, like I said, see a lot of result from all this effort, but it did bring us up through the anchored VWAP. So you got to give the bulls that. It did bring us through the ice. It brought us through the micro trend resistance, and it's got us currently hugging trading range resistance. So, but we are seeing volume coming in, supply volume coming in subsequent demand as we hug this area, but the demand has been very, very small, as you can see. So I think it's kind of trappy, actually. I think that we're not going to, I certainly don't believe we're going to go through the macro trend resistance line, not with this much effort and this kind of result so far, but it remains to be seen what's going to happen from here. Now we turn our focus over to this chart over on the left, and this is a Bitcoin dominance, and you see that Bitcoin dominance is tanking, but it's tanking within a rising wedge. So we have on one side, we have the Bitcoin actual price action rallying while the Bitcoin dominance is tanking. How can that be, right? It seems like a dichotomy. Well, the Bitcoin, all this means with the Bitcoin dominance going down is, while this goes up, is that the altcoin, the rest of the market, is exceeding in valuation in comparison to Bitcoin's run up at the moment. So this is something noteworthy because if you recall down here, this low was back in December, the first week of December. That's when we had altcoin season. That's that week-long altcoin. The alts were pumping, the memes were flying, and all the finance coins, and we're all just swinging the alts. That's this area here. And it looks like we could be heading back down to create a double bottom. And, or like an Adam and Eve kind of formation on the dominance chart. And so if that happens, then that would coincide with us getting stopped out in Bitcoin, because if altcoins are going to rally, if we're going to have altcoin season, then that means that the liquidity is going to have to come out of Bitcoin at some point and start flowing into the alts. And so that would make perfect sense if Bitcoin continues on these liquidity sweeps up here, or these bull traps, and to set the stage for the big short that's coming to bring Bitcoin down to a deeper consolidation range where market makers, whales, can begin absorbing incrementally Bitcoin while the liquidity flows in, the mass liquidity flows into the alts. So we kind of have that seesaw effect, which I'm looking for. And I know which many other analysts are kind of looking at and hypothesizing, kind of hoping for. But we don't know yet. As long as Bitcoin hovers above the ice in this zone here, with demand predominating and supply not really bringing it back into the magnetic influence of the anchored VWAP, then we're going to have to continue monitoring. But on the btc.d, or the Bitcoin dominance chart, we are continuing to see the price action or the candles retrace or tank. So as long as we have this kind of divergence, then we can kind of hope and see that everything kind of plays out to the alt's favor, and we get a cheap, good, deep price to also accumulate Bitcoin while the alts begin to rally, our favorite alts. I know everyone will love to see that. I would love to see that too. I don't have a crystal ball, just kind of reading the markets as it is. This is what it's telling me. And so let me know what you think in the comments. Like, subscribe if this kind of technical analysis is interesting to you. And we'll talk again soon. I'll keep my eyes on Bitcoin. Please be safe in the markets. God bless each and every one of you. And yeah, just keep your eye on Bitcoin. All right, guys, I'm gonna go. Adios. Bye-bye.